Hey guys, hope everybody is doing great. Now today we are going to look at the second bone of the cervical vertebrae, and this is the axis. Now the axis forms the second bone of the cervical vertebrae, which we are going to see in this particular illustration listed as C2. Now C implying that this is the cervical part of the cervical vertebrae, and we say that the cervical vertebrae consists of a range of 7 bones, whereby this atlas forms the first one and the axis the second one. Now in our case here for this specific illustration, we are going to see the characteristics of the axis, which basically are going to form a part of our discussion for today. Now we're going to see that this specific illustration has been given a different, of course, labeling, which we're going to try to mention in this specific case. Now, these are some of the distinct features that we're going to observe in this specific site of this bone, or rather this second bone of the vertebral column, the cervical vertebrae, that is been given as C2. So first is that it contains a large centrum. We talked about the specific set of, or rather the plan of this specific vertebral column. So therefore it has a large centrum which projects in front of in front to form what we refer to as the odontoid process, or sometimes referred to as the den of axis, which we can be able to see being labeled at this specific point. So we said that the solid part of the bone is what we refer to as the centrum. So therefore this projection, which is forming what we refer to as the dens of axis, is basically one of the features of this specific distinct set of 2 bones known as the axis. So secondly, we have what we call a broad neurospine. Now in this case, it has been given the name Spanner's process, but in some literature we're going to see this one being given the name the neurospine. So therefore one of the characteristics of this bone of the second bone of the cervical vertebrae is that it consists of a broad spine, whereas we are going to see that it also has a wide neural canal, which is an allowance at this specific point that is used for the passage of course, the spinal cord. And then we are going to see that it has wing-like transverse processes, which we are going to see here. And we say that the function of the transverse processes is to allow for attachment of muscles, which are found in this specific neck region. Now, apart from this, we're going to see that there are different views, perhaps the dorsal view and the anterior view of these specific points that we're going to come across. Now, depending on the orientation, we're going to see that there's a projection of these specific features going to be shown as we go by. But in our case, for this, I was trying to illustrate the different characteristics, or which we can be able to note, which is going to assist us to differentiate between these 2 bones, distinct bones for the axis and the atlas respectively. So I hope that being asked to mention some of these features, or rather if we come across this specific bone of the cervical vertebrae, then we are going to be able to name these distinctive features. And then of course we are going to be able to identify the different characteristics that I've already mentioned, which of course is part of this bone that we call the axis. Now catch us in our next video as we're going to look at this other part of the cervical vertebrae, which is the atlas, and we're going to see how we're going to see how the articulation and other lower regions of the vertebral column. So bye. That is it for today. Catch us in our next video. God bless you.